Before he was known as Darth Krayt, a Sharad Hett was born to the legendary Jedi Knight Sharad Hett, was raised among the Tusken Raiders of Tatooine, and served as a Jedi General in the Clone Wars. But his transformation into the Dark Lord of the Sith and his founding of the One Sith could have been prevented, and it all goes back to his time as a mentor to Anakin Skywalker. Amidst the chaos of the Clone Wars, he fought valiantly alongside many Jedi, including the young and conflicted Anakin Skywalker. Not only fighting the battle droids of the Separatist armies, Hett also helped Anakin after one of his most difficult and emotional moments of the conflict. This complex relationship would later echo through the galaxy, influencing Hett's dark path forward. After the devastating Jedi Purge and the rise of the Galactic Empire, Hett returned to the Tusken camps on the sands of Tatooine, haunted by the loss of his fellow Jedi and the revelation that Anakin had become Emperor Palpatine's enforcer, Darth Vader. This turning point forced him to confront his own failures and choices, which might have altered Anakin's fall to the dark side. Compelled by guilt and a thirst for retribution against those who corrupted his friend and dismantled the Jedi Order, Hett's journey led him to the Sith homeworld of Korriban, where he re-established the Sith under his leadership. Unlike their previous incarnation, Krayt abolished Darth Bane's rule of two. Instead, there would be the rule of one, the Sith Order itself, under which many members followed the direction of a single Dark Lord of the Sith. Embracing his destiny as Darth Krayt, the Sith Lord and his Sith Empire grew in secret for a century. Today, we explore that pivotal moment that plagued Hett. Could his intervention have prevented Anakin Skywalker's tragic fall to the dark side? Their shared experiences during the Clone Wars, especially their time together on Aargonar, was more than a battle for the Republic, it was a battle for the very soul of Anakin Skywalker. Before we delve into this pivotal moment of Star Wars lore, make sure you're always in the loop. Subscribe to our newsletter at hollownews.net.com and get the latest updates from a galaxy far, far away delivered directly to your inbox every week. 16 months after the Battle of Geonosis, the rain-soaked or rich world of Jabiim became the stage for one of Anakin Skywalker's darkest chapters. Following a coup, Jabiim's alignment with the Separatists prompted Chancellor Palpatine to authorize the deployment of Republic clone troopers to protect Republic loyalists, though the true motive lay in securing Jabiim's valuable resources. The battles on Jabiim were relentless. Incessant rain and turbulent storms made traditional combat tactics impossible. Republic forces, comprised of inexperienced clone troopers, were pitted against a well-armed Separatist army. Still, Jabiim was selected to serve as a test site for the Republic's newest walker, the All-Terrain Armored Transport, or AT-AT. The Separatist brutal assault on Shelter Base resulted in the deaths of hundreds, with Obi-Wan Kenobi listed among them. Dealing with the loss of his master, Anakin assumed command of a group of orphaned Padawans, focusing on ensuring their survival. In the midst of the battle, Anakin Skywalker received an urgent transmission from Chancellor Palpatine, directing him to evacuate the planet, a move likely intended to save Skywalker from a fatal end on the battlefront. Skywalker reluctantly complied, though it pained him to leave his fellow Padawans at such a crucial time. Tragically, in the days that followed, all of the Padawans would perish in combat. As the sole surviving Jedi on Jabiim, Skywalker faced a grim decision, and he ordered the planet's evacuation. This enraged Captain Orlis Gilman of the Jabiimi Loyalists, and when the captain turned his blaster rifle on Anakin, the Jedi reacted instinctively by lashing out with a Force choke, the first time Anakin ever used this ability. The Battle of Jabiim became a crucible for Anakin, shaping his views on loss, authority, and betrayal, emotions that would ultimately drive him to the dark side as Darth Vader. Following the presumed death of Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Sharad Hett stepped forward to offer both guidance and companionship for the deeply troubled Padawan Skywalker. Within the Republic fleet's medbay orbiting New Holstis, Hett noticed Anakin's difficulty with letting go and led him to the trauma ward. There, he introduced Anakin to Master Mobari, explaining that she was nearing death, a fate not even the Force could prevent. Despite Hett's counsel to simply sit with Mobari and assist her peaceful transition into the Force, Anakin, unable to accept letting go, intervened disastrously. Using a technique he believed could save her, Anakin attempted to massage Mobari's heart using the Force. His actions only increased her suffering, and when Hett intervened, Anakin informed the Jedi Master that while on Jabiim, he had learned how to crush a man's windpipe, and the same principle would allow him to heal Mobari's heart. But despite Anakin demanding that she live, he only increased her pain and she became one with the Force. A Sharad rebuked the young Jedi, teaching him that death is inevitable and that trying to stop it only creates more pain and suffering. To reinforce this principle, Hett led Anakin to a nearby monument honoring fallen Jedi, and he showed the Padawan how to use a memory moth to immortalize the names of the deceased, offering Anakin some closure for the many friends he lost on the brutal battlegrounds of Jabiim. However, a sharad Hett would soon discover that the emotions running through Anakin Skywalker were darker and deeper than anyone had believed. From the outset of the Clone Wars, the desert planet Aargonar was overlooked by the Galactic Republic. An insignificant world in the borderland regions of the Mid-Rim with a small population, it became a highly contested world when it lay directly on the border between Republic and Separatist space during the conflict. To repel Separatist forces as they made their way to the core worlds, the Jedi Council dispatched Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi and Jedi Knight Boltar Swan alongside a sharad Hett and Anakin Skywalker to mount a defense on Aargonar. But fate had other plans early in their campaign when the gunship carrying a sharad and Anakin crashed behind enemy lines. Stranded in the harsh desert terrain, a sharad sought to forge a bond with young Skywalker, sharing their common roots in Tatooine's sun-scorched sands, and in both of them arriving at the Jedi Temple later in life than typical Jedi initiates. Despite a sharad's deep connection to his Tusken heritage, Anakin harbored a seething disdain for the Tusken's role in the death of his mother, and he was unable to see past his prejudices. Their journey for survival led them to a Separatist-held station, where they planned to hijack a transport and escape to the Republic base. In a gesture to gain the young Padawan's trust, Hett sacrificed the power cells from both his and his father's lightsabers in order to gain access to one of the Separatist transports. But the tension of spending so much time in such close proximity to the Tusken overwhelmed Anakin with the haunting memories of his mother's tragic fate. When confronted by Separatist guards, Anakin's grip on the light side faltered, and slipping to the dark side, he unleashed his fury, mistakenly seeing the guards as Tuskens and slaughtering them in a blind rage. Amidst his bloodlust, Anakin revealed his dark secret to Hett, that in his grief he had once exterminated an entire Tusken village before turning his sights on a sharad, declaring in his rage that every Tusken deserves to die. A sharad, subduing Anakin, sympathized with him, informing the boy that as a Tusken, he understood the desire for revenge. But through his training, he learned that vengeance is not the way of the Jedi. He sympathized with the lure of the dark side, but warned that it must be avoided and that these emotions, having festered for some time, were clearly something Anakin had not discussed with his master. Understanding the turmoil the boy was in, Hett knew that if they were to work together and survive, Anakin had to see him as a Jedi and not a Tusken Raider. As Hett broke Tusken tradition and removed his mask, Skywalker was surprised to discover Hett was totally human. Hett's calm statements that while he was a Tusken at heart, physically he was human, but more than that, he was wholly a Jedi. Skywalker apologized, finally seeing Hett as an ally instead of a foe. Their harrowing experience bonded them as they made their way back to the Republic lines. Hett, carrying the weight of Anakin's confession, chose to keep his secret, hoping Anakin would confess to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who a short time later returned to the Jedi Order. But Skywalker never revealed the massacre or the emotions he continued to carry about his mother. In time, Hett bitterly regretted protecting Skywalker's bloody secret, and he blamed himself for not simply killing Anakin on Aargonar, sparing the galaxy and himself untold suffering. The dynamics of a sharad Hett and Anakin Skywalker's time together during the Clone Wars reveals just how crucial mentorship or its absence can profoundly influence destiny. For further insights into how this principle affected the greater galaxy, check out our video on how the human-centric cult known as the Pious Dia reshaped the Galactic Republic and altered the Jedi Order's role within it.